What's the motherfucking deal? Let's get this party properly started. Let me make a couple little adjustments right here. We're gonna move that. We're gonna move that by right, Sean. I don't know why that's not staying like it's supposed to. Let's see if we can get that fixed. What's the motherfucking deal, man? Welcome to the Den. If you're not familiar with the Den is a friendly conversation in the community, and when we talk about a variety of different things, we discuss a variety of topics. We cover a lot of different issues, and some of it controversial, some of it legitimate. But hey, the one thing is we're all friends in the Den, and so no matter what happens, we keep it kosher, but we allow each other to see different angles, different sides of the conversation. So tonight, as y'all know, I have joining me the one, the only, Mr. Man Up. How you doing this evening, Mr. Man Up?
I can't complain. I can't complain. Just gonna give me a little bit of rest there. How you feeling today?
Man, I'm good. I can't complain myself. Another day. The Texans, they got the W, so I ain't even tripping. I ain't even tripping. And so we in a good position. So much more to go. But hey, I'll take what we got right now. I'm just realizing I got no epilepsy seizure inducing background back here. Let me find a way to stimulate y'all real quick. But my thing is today we're going to talk about interracial relationships. Now, this is 2018, and and at this point you would think slavery been over it. Races, especially in America, is a melting pot, and everybody should be familiar and kosher with everybody. But even in this day and age, you still have people who feel like it's problematic to engage, in an interracial relationship, and I find that odd. I find that strange because, again, you would think, by now people be used to it, but yeah, we'll throw something like that back there. There we go. We'll make it look all sleep inducing and everything. So by now, again, you would think that people would be familiar with, that the fact that people like, people of other races, but yet it seems to still be a problem, not only in America, but I'm sure in other places too. And, I've seen some things where they go and they interview people and they ask them, their thoughts on, interracial relationships and things of that sort. And, you still see some old beliefs, you still see people in their old ways. And if we're going to be honest about it, like I said, I try to keep it 100 in the Den and in the sauce, wherever it may be, not that long ago, maybe a few years back, like I say, I talk about how I was on a more of a pro-black mind state. And, I wasn't super keen on interracial relationships, It's not that I hated them or I was going to, attack anybody for them. I'm just, I just didn't think it was what was up. So, as I kind of got away from some of those beliefs and as I kind of started thinking a little bit differently, as I started looking at the world in a different way, looking at myself in a different way, again, I took a different approach to things. And now, like I say, it's not something I even really care about. To each their own. Everybody has to like what they like, and again, you're in this world, you have to deal with the world from your own point of view, from your own perspective. You have to live the life that's best for you. And so if you feel like an interracial relationship is, the way you got to go, then, hey, you got to do what you got to do. I have no problems with that. It has nothing to do with, nothing to do with me, So just kind of, as we talk about this conversation, your thoughts. I'd like to know your thoughts, your feelings. Then we're going to kind of deep dive into some of the details and, some of the nuances of interracial relationships, some of the pros and cons, and then we'll open up the Den line a little bit later. We'll allow some folks to call in and kind of, speak their thoughts on interracial relationships. So your opinion Mr. Man Up on interracial relations. I mean, how do you feel about them? Have you ever been in one? You know, and just the way you think about it.
Well, I have been in interracial relationships before in the past. I mean, now, of course, now I'm married to a black woman, but I have before in the past, and I, don't have no ill will feeling towards anyone that's that gets into one at all. I know I've seen Craig Baker say he's still pro black. Eh, it is to each his own. You know what I mean? But me personally, I'm not really opposed to it. That's what you do. That's what you do. You know what I'm saying? I don't look at you no different way or nothing like that. Uh, but I will say this here with the interracial relationships. I think it's a beautiful thing. And what I mean by that is that shows how far we have come in this country, how far we have come as people on this earth to, to come together as people. Instead of acting like the world itself is segregated and stuff like that. Uh, Things like that. So I think we as people need to get rid of all this color barrier, excuse me, that we put up. Oh, I want to give this person because they're white or they're Asian or they're whatever. You know what I'm saying? We as people on this earth, we're here, we share this planet, get along with each other. That's just how I see it. Kind of like when you're driving down the street, we share the road, get along. If not, it can be disastrous. Depends on how you make it. That's
I can agree with that. And I see. I think Danny said, didn't I date a chick? Yeah, I dated a white chick in high school. I did, and I was with her for a little while. Didn't necessarily end in the best manner, but it is what it is. And it was funny though because, and I believe Man Up had told a story kind of similar a while back. Just because you're more open to, dating outside your race. My situation, and now that I look back on it, it kind of maybe it affects the way I think about stuff now. Is I used to be in the gifted and talented classes, and I'd be the only black kid in most of those classes for most of my elementary, secondary, high school years. And I kind of got out a bunch of them. It was just, again, getting my thoughts convoluted and believing, I got to be around more of my people instead of, maximizing my own potential. Again, you hear these things, you let these things infiltrate you and it can fuck you off. But yeah, I did. Because again, like I say, when you're in a situation where that's all you were around, you become almost acclimated to certain things, and again, I was always embraced. It wasn't like I was ever treated different because I was the only black kid, so I didn't ever really deal with any of that, But what I did get a lot of was from those outside of those classes, the black chicks who were, in school or whatever. Oh, he think he this, he think he that. You don't talk to black girls, this. No one, like I said, I wasn't in classes with, most of y'all for the most part, especially like I say in high school. For what they were aware of, I was faithful, You put all my business out in the streets, but, it wasn't like I was just fucking on everything in school. But at the same time, just because I had a long-term relationship with her, I got this label that, oh, he only dates white girls. This is just who I've been with the majority of the time. So, I mean, it is what it is. So again, like I say, but then as I got older, there were some things, that happened that took place. My mind altered and I saw things in a different light. And, I would just kind of saw things in a different way. And like I said, I was just kind of more so, black on black everything. And I wouldn't cross my boundaries and other. Now, I say all this to say, like, I have no problems with interracial relationships now. I just don't think I would ever get into another one because I feel like there are pros and cons. And I just have my own beliefs. And again, this is not to talk down on them. I just don't think it would be ideal for a person like me. And so my thing is, I swirl quite a few times. Spirit told me that ain't just for me long term. And I think that's kind of what it is because I think it depends on where you come from. I think it depends on relatable life experiences. I think there's a lot of other factors that go into it that I think can strain a relationship depending on the backgrounds of both parties. But this is also the same thing that can happen when you date, you know, from different classes. You know what I mean? Somebody who may have came up impoverished, dating someone who may have came up, you know, with a silver spoon in their mouth. Different backgrounds, different understanding, different views of the world, and that could possibly create a strain. Now, if you're a strong couple of you guys work to understand each other, get to know each other better, and you know there's some leeway given here and there, then you know maybe you can work around those things. But again, if you're just two stubborn people, then you know there could be issues in the long term that cause the situation, or not even that you're stubborn. One could just be have a lack of understanding and kind of be dismissive, and it could be a problem for the other, and it could cause a it could cause a long term strain. It could be different interests. It could be a lot of things that take place. And it seemed funny because I don't know if I was calling myself sticking it to the man or whatever, because the chick I was with, her dad was racist or whatever, so she said. And then it turns out, several years later, I end up, like I say, when I was doing more debauchery in my lifestyle, that he was let's just say a loyal client of when I was, peddling my wares, if you will. So I think that's very funny. I don't think he ever knew, though, that it was me who it was that was, putting the meat in his daughter. So I'm sure that may have changed things. Maybe not. Who cares? Drugs are a motherfucker. So my thing is, again, like I say, now I have no problem with it. I don't care. Again, I say about anybody. I may not understand certain things. I may not understand people's motivations behind certain things, but who am I to judge? Who am I to say that this is right and this is wrong? I can only see things from my perspective and my experiences, and then apply those things and just look at the world through my lenses. And this is why the Den is here, to allow people of different backgrounds, people of different experiences to speak their piece. And we share these thoughts with one another so that we can, maybe leave a little bit of something, leave a little bit of knowledge in someone else's life that may benefit them in the long run, that may help them out if they ever get in a situation, or just have better understanding about, people as people on this planet. So I think that's very interesting. But again, let's kind of talk about the pros and the cons of interracial. I kind of talked about some of the cons, having misunderstandings. Now pros, I think can be interesting, because I don't always want to say, just because they're a different race, it's a different experience, because you got some ghetto ass white people with some ghetto ass black people. And if y'all grown up in the same ass ghetto ass neighborhood, then it might not be too many differences, but it doesn't always tend to be that way. It usually tends to be some type of difference there. And so I think that when you engage in interracial or other cultural, and I'm not saying just black and white, it could be black and Hispanic, black and Indian, or it could be Indian and white. It could be anything. It's not just black and white. Even though Michael Jackson said it don't matter if you're black or white, but there's a lot of different combinations that are available. And so I think that the cultural interaction could be a plus, again, if the people are open-minded and willing to engage in the understanding of one another's culture. I think that would be a pro. A couple other things, but I don't want to take about. I'm gonna see, kind of your thoughts on it. We'll try to keep it positive. Like, what do you see being a pro as far as dating interracially, and then we'll kind of discuss some of the cons.
Okay. Well, one of the pros is like I said before, it from what we come from at first as the people in this country to where we are now. I think that's a huge, huge pro. Also, excuse me, I'm sorry. I also think that another pro is this here. To get to knowing, each other in that kind of level. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Don't just sit there and be like, I want to get with this person just because of this and that. No, you get to know someone, get to know their history, their background, how they feel, how they, things like that. If that makes sense to you, as a person, how they feel on the inside, things like that. Because then you can kind of realize, hey, it's not what everybody made it seem like to be. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said before, I gave you the story before on a previous day. I forgot what it was, but the name of that one. But I also think a pro is this here. I don't want to get to the cons, but not just yet. But I also think another pro is this here. I think it teaches us to open our eyes, open our minds up from all the negativity that surrounds interracial relationships, interracial dating, things like that. It's taken us a step further from what we was before, and I also think that, what someone said when they were dabbling in the swirl, I also think it takes us from what those crazy mindsets and those crazy terms and terminologies as well too, because a lot of people don't understand those. Just taking that word right there, dabbling in the swirl, that phrase I should say. A lot of people do look at that as being offensive, and not saying it is or it ain't. To each his own, whether it is or it's not. But what I'm basically saying is that it can open our minds up to a whole different world out there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm phrasing it the right way, like I said, it's in my. I know how I'm thinking, and it sounds good, but I might not be saying it right for everybody else to understand. But it just opened up a different world out there for everybody to look and to see and to understand. I'm pretty sure if there's someone in the chat that that's in a interracial relationship right now, they could probably know exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, like I said, I was in a few growing up, like you said, in high school, middle school, stuff like that, because I was the only black kid and the only black guy. There was another black person. It was a female, of course. Two black people that was in orchestra class. I was playing the big old bass.
Okay.
And everybody else was was white. You know what I'm saying? That was it. It was just me, a black guy and a black girl, and everybody else was white. That was in orchestra when I was in middle school. And then I'm not gonna lie, that's really growing up. That was mostly what was attractive to me was non-black females. Had Asians, had whites, had Hispanics. That was mostly attracted to me growing up. So that's what I tend to get with. So, and that's what, like I said, and that's what kind of open your eyes a little bit when you're surrounded by more of that, more of different cultures. It ain't just black and white. It can be white, Hispanic. It could be white and Asian, whatever, just interracial, period. And when you open your eyes up to these things, trust me, it's a whole new world out there when you see it. There's those that are just rather be closed-minded, don't want to be open-minded at all. Those people there, all they're going to see is the negativity in it. They're going to say, how you be viewing these relationships, this and that could happen, blah, blah, blah. Anything could happen if you're not in an interracial relationship. So things like that, to me, is just more of a blessing in disguise, if you ask me.
Man, damn it, Heidi. I'm trying to keep a straight face here. Talking about you can't get the Chinese to open their eyes.
I just read that right now.
And that works on multiple levels. But here is the thing that I find, and I'm reading a couple of these comments in the chat that I found very interesting, because I was saying, Ra says, I'm an artist on tour daily. Most women that come at, but you are willing to know a dude are the white women. And then he said something earlier about, I've dated many white women, but it's something different they provide, not sexually, but sometimes it's an understanding. And it's very interesting, because I want to talk about that. And the Baker man says, what he said was when he was talking about dealing with the police, it's good to have somebody of another race to deal with the laws for you. Sometimes you're motherfucking right on that. And I agree with you when you say that, they look at the way the media is set up, the public is being influenced to be pro-interracial relations. You see a lot more commercials. You're starting to see a lot of these things, more down with, interracial couples, interracial children, being displayed. I believe there was a Cheerios commercial a while back that had the nation enraged because there was an interracial couple, which was, I found that pretty funny. But what Hara was saying, man, and I agree. And again, like I say, I have another question I actually want to ask you. With you being an artist, is it is it the particular kind of art that you do? An artist can be multiple different things. I don't know if it's necessarily like painting or if it's music or, whatever it may be. But who you feel most embraced by? And I think that, what you're saying, white women, but as far as like your particular genre of art, is it dedicated? Would you say it's mostly influenced by a particular culture or, anything like that? I'd like to know. And then I kind of want to dive a little bit deeper into that. But and I would have to agree with him on things of that nature, though, and I find it kind of funny because you talk about the black women who hate men in this world, but it's funny, especially these days, because you see them, they talk about a black man, all these black men, all they do is go get white women, and then they praise it, when a black woman gets with a white man. And I mean, it's a double standard that you have. Either you're with the interracial shit or you're not with the interracial shit. I mean, you can't complain about one side doing it, but then, you applaud it when someone of a similar stature does it to you. But again, like I say, it is what it is. But I would have to agree, from my experiences with, when I did deal, more outside of, my race, that it does seem, again, it could just be coincidentally, because I'm sure if they ghetto as shit, they gonna be just as ratchet or just as whatever it is. It does seem that, it almost seems the lighter the skin tone, the more understanding it is. Now, that's not just the best basis to put about, because there's probably some white girls who tannered in some of these quote unquote yellow bones and all this other shit, and they, I'm pretty sure there's some differences there, but some of these yellow bones cuckoo is cat shit. But I'm just saying, it just seems like it's almost a spectrum. Again, it's not always easy dating black women, and everybody saw that they're queens, because it's this, and one, America has this whole sense of self-entitlement, but it seems like my black women especially, I don't know if, like I said, if it's just from my recent interactions on social medias or whatever it may be. Trust me, I love my black women, but sometimes they are on some real live bullshit, and this whole queen thing, where's your territory? Where do you reign? Like, I hate the way some of these terms are so loosely used. And with black women, the term queen is used a lot, but queen is also a gay term. And so something that I've noticed is you see a lot of these black women and gay men act alike. And I hate to say it, but it's true. It's bothersome. It is quite bothersome. Now, there's some of them who do their own thing, their own women. But what I notice is you see gay men and black women having a lot of the same characteristics. Where you see it as the way they walk, talk, act, terminology that they use. And that bothers the fuck out of me, because sometimes I want to be like, bitch, you acting like a whole fag over here. It kills me. You know what I mean? It's just, it's craziness, and they don't like that. Usually, if you call a woman a fag, they definitely get confused and then they get very angry. But my thing is, they definitely know how to take that. But the thing is just that, be you. Quit. Like we again, it's about, to me, when it comes to, like, say, dating with black women. Like I'll say I love black women, but one, again, I have staples. One has to be natural, because there is a mental a level of mentality from a woman who wears her hair with weave, with a whole lot of weave and things like that. Like, I've noticed a different mentality to those who are more natural, who are more, whatever that. It seems like they're, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know if they have a stronger mentality. I don't know if that's the word I want to use, because the term strong black woman is always overused. But it's just like they're not as easily influenced by the bullshit. They usually don't buy into a lot of the bullshit. But the funny thing about that is usually more so the lighter or the mixed black women who are more willing to wear their hair naturally, as opposed to the dark women. It seems like the darker they get, that the more problems that come with that. And that's unfortunate, because, again, I feel like it's that aspect of society that says, oh, well, this is the standard of beauty. And so they grow up feeling like, oh, I'm not it. I'm not what, men want. So they have to do more. They have to be extra. They have to, it seems like, say, when I talk about the darker they are, the brighter the fucking weave is, platinum blonde or bright red or some blue shit. The nails are more outrageous. Like, they have to do more to get attention. And I talk to them often. And I'm just like, you don't have to do all that. Be you. Quit trying to emulate something, and you'll find somebody who fucks with you for you. Don't play that role. Don't bring the bullshit attention to yourself. You find these women having a lot more issues. But when you look on the other side of the spectrum, I'm not gonna throw white women. I'm not gonna throw Mexicans out there, because it's there again. It's in every category. You got to talk about. You got your version. Like I said, you got black people, niggas. You got white people. You can call them, I don't know if you call them crackers. I don't know if that's more of a redneck term or whatever. But again, you got niggas in every race. Essentially, is what I'm saying. Is there's always two types of people, and so you got your more extreme versions of those too, and I feel like but it just seems like it's more prevalent in the black side, and I think it's a difficult thing to deal with, and it's unfortunate. But when he was saying that, white women seem to be more understanding, and it is, and I'm trying to figure out why that is. I mean, I don't know if it's the societal view. I don't know if it's the way they're raised. I don't know what it is. Again, if it's because the ones I've dealt with, I wouldn't say they've all been from a structured family. The majority of them have. Now, some of them have been from, divorced families or whatever it is, but I'm sure, that the family at one point was intact, or at least they keep some type of, connection with both their parents or whatever it is. So I don't know if it's a lack of fathers in the household. I don't know what it is, though, that makes it seem like black women are more difficult to deal with. But then the black women that I have come across that are, not difficult, that are not on the bullshit, that are understanding all that, again, you look at it and it is, and I feel like it has to be the family thing now that I think about it, because they seem to come from a more solid family structure, even if they are from a single parent, their mom made sure they stayed on their ass and did the right things. It wasn't just out there willy-nilly, or they wasn't just on some hood shit. They made sure they stayed educated, or they were in college when I interacted with them, and so they were getting an education and making themselves better. So I think that maybe it's an education factor. I don't know what it could be, honestly. I mean, what do you think? What do you think that could be? Do you feel that way? One, do you feel that way that in your instances, and I know that, like I say, there are situations, and I know like I say, you're in a relationship now, but in your experiences in dealing with them overall, if you were to make a comparison between races or the ones that you've dealt with, I'm still trying to, I can't find out right now, but one day, who knows? I'm trying to see if that Asian stuff's sitting sideways. I've heard so many rumors. I'm just trying to find out. But all bullshit aside, who do you feel like? Have you dealt with different races, and you do feel like one race is more understanding than the other?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is, like I said before, this is going on my personal experience, and I have been dated several different races before I got my wife, and I will say this here. I really do think, in my opinion, white people are more willing to listen to you than any other race. Now, like, pay attention to, if you have a problem, like if you had a hard day at work, I put it like that. If you had a hard day at work, you want to just come home and just vent. I've experienced that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and it sounds messed up the way I'm putting it, but it's true. And what I think that is that I really do think that it comes from someone teaching them that it's not all about you. That there's a whole world out there. You get into a relationship, it's 50-50, things like that. And for what I'm also saying is that when you're taught these things as a youngster, growing up, you understand a lot more that once you get in a relationship, you got to understand that, look, once he or she is not going to just cater to me. I got to cater to them too. You know what I'm saying? And I really do think that when it comes to like my own people, it's not like that. You know what I'm saying? It's far and few, put it like that. I'm not saying that all black women, no, that's not true at all. I'm not saying that whatsoever. But I am saying, because I even told this to my wife, when me and my wife first got together, I told this to my wife, I said, you are the first black female I've ever had a relationship with that has really been down for me. When times got hard, then to say, peace, bye. Just say, okay, we're going to work through this, we're going to make this happen, blah, blah, blah. She is the first one. I told her that. And she gave me this look like, really? Why would you say something like that? But I basically telling the truth. And to kind of go back to what you were saying when you were talking about the black queens and stuff like that, I always said that too. It's like, and people always say, we were once kings and queens in Africa. I said, well, why nobody else never went back to claim their throne? You know what I'm saying? There's plenty of rich black people. How come they never went back to claim their throne? If we were once kings and queens, go back and claim your throne. Look up your history. Go back and claim it then. Because I think that's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? My personal opinion. If you was a king or queen, you know that when you want to live comfortably in your life of royalty and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's crazy. If you could be a king, queen in your own home, that's fine. Because that's what we are in our own home. Your home is your castle. You're a king and queen in your own home. But don't just sit and say you were once kings and queens in a whole country when there's a whole bunch of black people. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So everybody's not a king or queen. You know what I'm saying? So that to me, in my opinion, that's a lie. Now, also too, excuse me, trying to get back onto what you were saying. I think a lot of people these days, especially men, that's how I'm gonna put it, my personal opinion.
Uh-oh. Black Queen, you got
Excuse
it.
me. It's scared to get into a interracial relationship. And what I mean by that is, if we do, then you got other people that's going to have something to say. But if a black woman gets to an interracial relationship, then it's okay. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like a double standard, like you were saying earlier. And I kind of find that odd and strange. I don't know why that is. And Heidi, you talking about Google something. What you was talking about, Heidi? Google that, man. What you talking? Oh, okay. Well, that's true. That's true. Man, that's what I'm trying. That's what, and that's another thing too. Let me say this here. A lot of times when I have these dens with Huncho, I be trying to censor my words because I don't want to get his channel flagged and shut down because of what I'm saying. So I be trying so I'm just don't want that guilt on my heart if I mess up his thing. So when I be saying things, I be pausing and I be trying to think of different words to say because I don't want his channel to get messed up. But so that's the reason why I do these things, because in my head I want to say what I really want to say, but I know I shouldn't. So I'm trying to censor it just a little bit. But get back on topic here though. But yeah, and I think when it comes to like these interracial relationships, I think H-Train said your mic is off.
Yeah, I was.
But
I put it back on there.
oh,
Okay.
but yeah, I was saying with this interracial relationship, especially when it's a black man getting with someone that's not white, we'll get all these crazy looks and attitudes. We'll have to defend our relationship instead of having one, and that's messed up. That's crazy. Then, excuse me. But if it's the other way around, it's not like that. And I wonder why. A lot of people like say it's that slave mentality and things like that. I say it's fucking Friday, say what you want. All right. All right. But yeah, and I just think that bless you there. And I just think that we as a people on this earth need to get out of that mindset. Look, not every black woman is going to get with this black man. And what I have seen before, I put it like this. This is what kind of deterred me away when I was a youngster from a black woman. I'm just gonna put it out there. This is what kind of deterred me away. It's that all I would see is a black woman think the world revolves around them. Even to this day, if you pay attention to a lot of these black women, feel like man has to cater to them. Now, is that all black women? No, it's not. And I'm not saying it is, because my wife is not like that. Which is a blessing that I found a woman like that. But I have noticed that growing up. And like I said, I grew up around nothing but females. And I've seen that. It's like, especially if you tell a black woman that she don't look good and her hair don't look good, her clothes don't look good, or the way she's acting is stupid or whatever, I mean, she will get down your throat like it ain't nothing. But what I have noticed, if you tell another woman race or something like that, they will ask you why you say that. Why? What's going on? What you think? What's up? Stuff like that. But black women, they'll get ready to just cut your throat off if you say something like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, and that's what kind of deterred me away, just a little bit, not much, but just a little bit. But then also what kind of turned me away too, like my very first interracial relationship was with a Hispanic girl. I got so many nasty comments, so many crazy things that was happening. Black girls would go and tell her that I'm cheating on her, I don't want her, I'm only with her for this and that. Then here the girl I was with would come and say, oh, I heard this and that. And I'm like, really, you'll believe them before you believe me? Stuff like that. And it's like, seriously? You know what I'm saying? Who cares? It's like they mad that you have options and they don't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I say that because, like I said, things that I've seen and been through gives me the opinion, that this is what it is. Now, if it's really that, not that, then it's not. But that's just, things I've been through, what I've seen. And also, too, man up with the Mexican girl from the free taco. Oh, man. Now, I need some burritos and some enchiladas. Or even some barbacoa. That's my favorite right there. But, when you, and when I see these things, it's like, it's crazy. But then, like I said before in the previous day that we had this kind of topic, I would see those same girls that would talk bad about the black man being in an interracial relationship, they'll be in one. It's like, say, what? Don't make no sense at all to me. And I'm pretty sure other people in the chat can relate to that and know exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm pretty sure you can see that too before, Hunter.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. And that's strange to me. But then when you go and try to ask them questions, they get a little funky attitude, which you don't really want to answer your question. Just like, whatever, they do whatever. Craig Baker said, my first relationship was a Latina, and their colorism amongst them too. It all depends, But I was with this one Asian girl. I was scared to be with her, actually, and for numerous reasons. One, because I know how some Asians don't want their, kids or someone that's not Asian. And then, of course, like I said before, how my own people would treat me. And when I finally met her parents, they were more than willing for me to be with her. I was like, okay. That kind of opened my eyes up a little bit right there to things like that as well, too. And that's not like that in all, cultures. But, and another thing is this here, too. When it comes to a black man a black woman getting with a white man, I'm gonna put it like this: a true story. I forgot the name of that show I was watching. Well, this guy, he was talking about this too. He was on the phone not on the phone. I'm sorry. He was basically video chatting with this black woman who's married to a white man, and then this is literally what she did. She said, hold on, my husband is asleep. Let me go out in my backyard and talk because I don't want to wake him up. Now, the guy she was video chatting with was a black man. Mm-hmm. Now, notice what I just said. Her husband was asleep. He's white. Well, she said, I didn't actually see the guy, but she said he's white. She went outside in the backyard so she could talk. Didn't want to disturb him while he was asleep. But while she's video chatting with this black guy, she gets all kinds of straight attitude with him, mad as hell, disrespecting him, calling him out his name, stuff like that. Yeah. And he said, and the guy she was video chatting with, he literally said, so you'll disrespect me, but you won't disrespect that man that you with, and he's white. And when he said that, it kind of made me go back to what I'm talking about right now. It kind of made me think about those things. It's like, you'll downplay your own people, but you won't downplay other people, other races, excuse me. And that kind of, gets you to think a little bit right there too. Now, and I know I'm being negative on this here, but it's kind of what I experienced in my own world, what I'm saying, when I was in an interracial relationship. I mean, now I'm not. Now I have a beautiful, beautiful black wife, and I'm not against. They keep talking about your mic, Huncho, for some reason.
Okay.
Yeah, Huncho mic. I don't know what that means, but
I hadn't even been saying that. I've just been listening.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But yeah, it's not a bad thing. I love it. It shows how far we've come, and like you said with the Cheerios commercial, it even kind of goes with gay relationships. You see a lot of that on TV now, a lot of commercials, even some TV shows, things like that. And people, and I think this world is starting to open up a little bit, slowly but surely. the show is a lot further than what we used to be. So I think that we as people deserve need to get out of that mindset. Because look at this, our first black president, he was mixed. See what I'm saying? So why we can't, go through that these days? Look at Lionel Richie. His mom was on the Jeffersons. Yeah, Lionel Richie. Yeah, his mom was on the Jeffersons. The one that was married to the white man.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh, that was I didn't even know that. Okay. Learn something new every day.
She was really in real life married to a white man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It's slowly but surely getting there, but I just think that we need to stop it. You know what I'm saying? I forgot that woman's name, but she was on the Jeffersons, and the one that was married to a white man, in real life, she really was married to a white man. Okay. But I think we as a people need to stop it. And you know what I'm saying? With all this crazy nonsense. You know what I'm saying? So we can also too be better people to each other on this earth. Now, one thing that I did notice this shit too, like when that I think that was South Carolina, North Carolina, one of them, when that church got shot up. I did see this on the news that day, like a day or so later. A whole bunch of people, black and white people, Asians, whatever, was getting together, you know what I'm saying, marching, singing, around church, praying for those. And I think that's a huge, huge come up. You know what I'm saying? As we can come together as people in a time of tragedy and show unity. And I think we need to show unity regardless. You shouldn't have to take a tragedy, if that makes sense.
Why do you think that people can't, get together? Why does it always take a tragedy? Because we was kind of briefly talking about that the other day when we were talking about politics. I think I got into a conversation talking about Cruz and Bethel, but I was just talking about how these people, in Houston when everything was going down, people were, helping each other out. They weren't asking, hey, well, what's your political affiliation? While they was helping people, out the water, saving people from their homes, flooding and things like that. It wasn't none of that, but now, things have kind of resided a little bit and everything's back to normal for the most part. It's funny how politics just infiltrates everything, and to me, it skews people's way of thinking. Because I'm just looking at the guy now. How they got the guy who was sending those packages. And first, it was a package got sent to the White House, and you had a lot of conservatives like, oh man, the liberals trying to take out the president, and they trying to do this, and this. But then once all those liberal people started getting packages, the liberals are sending in packages to themselves now. It's not even real. And I'm just saying, I'm just looking at the way that people's mentality has been so skewed by politics. That's why I say I don't give a fuck about politicians or politics too much, really. But I mean, it's just certain conversations you have to have. But then, they go and they catch the guy today, and turns out he's a Trump supporter, but loves Trump, been at a bunch of Trump rallies. He got recordings and all kind of stuff like that. And so, why do people let ignorance and things like that affect the way that, they deal with people? And then in race in the same way, they'll let race affect, what it is. But when it's a tragedy, all those things tend to get thrown out the window. And it's just about helping your fellow man. Is it the fear of something like that happening to them you feel? Or what is it that it takes a tragedy for people to come together and get their shit together? If people ask to me, in my opinion, like how they act when tragedies do happen, the world would be 1,000 times better. And I don't understand why people can't always do that. And again, it's the system I feel like they have us under. But, I'd like to know your thoughts on that one.
I also think that it's, like you said, it's politics. I also think that it's society in itself, and I also think when it comes to a tragedy, I think that that's when people's hearts start to open up. And it's sad that it's like that. Your heart should be open regardless. It shouldn't have to take a tragedy. That's what I think. Now, I do agree with you that if it's going to be like that, then yeah, it should be a tragedy every day, because the world will be 1,000 times better. I do agree with you 100%, because that's when you see it. That's exactly when you see it. Like when, I don't know if you knew this, but like when that stuff happened with that church, that's Bob McNair paid for those funerals, and nobody even knew about it. Him and his wife. Yeah, him and his wife secretly paid for it. All them funerals at that church. You know, the people that got killed at that church,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody knew about it. But the first time that Bob Manel said what he had said, you know, people got so mad and pissed off about him. Now, when that came out that he paid for the church, oh well, he's not as bad as we thought he was.
Yeah.
Well, you know, if you would have, I'm not gonna lie, me personally, when that first happened, when it was first said, I was upset. I'm not gonna lie, I'll be 100% honest.
Yeah.
But then once I paid more and more attention to what was said and how everything came out, I'm like, I don't know. I don't think this is that bad as people making it seem.
Mm-hmm.
I also think what it is that people are scared how they might look towards someone else, if that makes sense. Like, for example, like when that hurricane happened in Houston, you see a lot of people with Confederate, flags on their boats and trucks and stuff trying to help.
Yeah.
But they threw all that out the window to try to help.
Exactly.
See what I'm saying? But if it wasn't a hurricane and you see no flags, a black person would have been quick to turn around and walk the other way, or have some nasty comments or whatever. See what I'm saying? So, excuse me. So, and that's what I think people are scared of what others may think of them if they, you know what I'm saying, if they do help or if they do tend to be in these relationships, things like that. When it shouldn't really matter. It should matter only to you. How do you say that's how Russian women are? Okay, but I think that, you know, and I really do think that it's crazy. That means, because if you look at it, put it like this here, there's this girl that I seen before. Excuse me, not seen before. I'm sorry. There's this girl I seen on TV. She's trying to be like the Kardashians because she's Albanian, however you say that, just like they are. And she's with a black guy, but she kept it secret from her family for 5 years, I think that's what she said.
Yeah.
And then she finally broke it out to her parents because she didn't want her parents to look at her, you know, funny for being with a black guy. And that's what I'm talking about, that people are scared to open up to who they really are, what they really want to be, kind of like a gay person, because they don't want they don't want other people to judge them or have their crazy comments or things like that. So I think that's part of it as well too. Then also think that it's a thing that people have been taught in their own home, in their own families, that you shouldn't get with this kind of race because this and that, blah blah blah, you know, whatever. And I think that when you see these things, it's weird how that is. You know what I'm saying? And I also think that it's politics because I'm just going to go and throw it out there. Look at Donald Trump, how he's acting with the Colin Kaepernick thing. See what I'm saying? And they could just take one thing, flip it from what it really is to something totally different. And I think that's crazy. You know, that's what I think it really is. What you think it is?
I mean, I think it's crazy too. And I think what happens, and it's interesting with the whole Donald Trump situation, because I talk about, you know, we all come from different backgrounds, and you know, it baffles me when people expect someone who has no idea what your lifestyle is like, has been, you know, either been rich from day one or been broke from day one, or celebrities or whatever it is. Like, the common man has to realize that these athletes don't live like you. These celebrities don't live like you, especially if they've been born into it. They've been born rich. They don't understand the same problems you do. And what a lot of people do is they take their anger and their frustrations and things like that and take it out on other people. But, excuse me, with the Donald Trump and Kaepernick situation, I honestly truly feel like, one, Donald's personality, it's something in him that just doesn't allow him to I don't want to say back down, even when he's completely wrong and it's obvious that he's wrong. It's an ego issue. And Kaepernick, I think just the people that are behind him are, now that he got so much money behind him and he's the face of Nike and all these other things, his backers, we'll call them, his financiers or whatever it may be, aren't going to allow him to change the optics of the situation. So But again, people have biases, especially like say when you look at Bob in there, how you mentioned that, and how you look at Trump. He's an older guy, especially a lot of these older guys who the majority of their lives they grew up and the world was one way. You can't expect them in the latter end of their lives to just, well, things are changing, I embrace the change. Everybody's not like that, especially when things are pretty much the same for them. They're not mingling amongst the people and seeing how things are changing. And their demographic and their lifestyle, where they're at, how they live, things have always been the same. It will still always look the same. So they're not seeing the rapid growth and change that, the rest of us see. Okay, hey, everyday places we go to, now you see more Muslims, it seems like, you see more like the hijabs and things like that. So people, I think, have become slowly more tolerant of some of that stuff. Some people are just not, because they don't know how to act, because they've been brainwashed and believing into whatever thing that they believe. I think a lot of people are just ignorant. And I think the majority of people are ignorant. And that's, how we kind of go back. We were talking about the thing about, about people acting a certain way, especially with the Confederate thing, because people just, you've been told that this symbol means this, and it is what it is. A lot of the people who love the Confederate flag are ignorant because they don't even realize that's not the Confederate flag. That was a battle flag. I want to say the West Virginia battle flag. It's not even that's not the flag of the Confederacy. The flag of the Confederacy looks similar to the United States flag. It's just a couple of things different, and a few less stars. But again, it's lack of knowledge, and they've been brainwashed to believe this is what this means, and so they just repeating what they think they know, not really doing the research, not really getting the understanding, and they're just living by what they believe. And that's what I think the problem is with most people. Instead of actually saying, okay, let's figure this thing out, let me deep dive and do a little research. But then there are people who do know, but they feel so embarrassed, or like you say, they feel so affected by the way that other people think, they refuse to acknowledge, hey, I was wrong when I was doing this shit, and I need to make a change, or I need to adjust, or whatever it may be, because they have people to impress, or they feel like they got to impress. And so they'd rather be wrong and impress some fucking loser ass people than be themselves. And again, that's a big problem as well. We got a lot of followers. We got a lot of people who aren't action oriented. We got a lot of people who want to impress motherfuckers that do not fucking matter. You know what I mean? And so it's crazy, and it's crazy. So I mean, it just kind of is how it is. And it's funny that you mentioned about the Confederate people in the boats. I was watching a news program, and again, you get this, especially with this whole left-right thing. That's why I say, that's why I watch everything. That's why I watch Fox News. I watch the CNNs, the MSNBC. They're all bullshit. Like, I mean, if you spend 5 minutes really looking at it, you're like, wow, this is stupid people TV. You try to hope that there's some news coming out here, but this is just pure propaganda. Everybody involved in this shit is dumb as fuck, from, the Blitzers and the Lemons and the Hannitys and all the rest. Like, all of them are fucking dumb, because they have an agenda to push, and, they're willing to overlook facts to try to push whatever that fucking stupid ass agenda is, and to blind people. And that's why we need real independent people who don't lean either way, who just, to be honest, mate, this is what happened. These are the facts behind the situation. Now that I've given you all the facts, you determine what it is. Now the news is, well, this is going on, and they're doing this because of this, and this. And that's not the truth. People are injecting their opinions into the news and making it just some biased bullshit. But there were some guys who came through. I want to say it was, I forgot what fucking, it was one of them types of Asians. It wasn't a Filipino neighborhood. It might have been something like that. But a bunch of Confederate guys, and they came through there, and they were helping these people rebuild. They were coming through in their trucks and all that shit, but helping these people rebuild, coming through. And the news reporter's like, well, these guys have been in your neighborhood, and apparently that they've been harassing or bothering the people. In the motherfuckers like, man, you the one that's bothering us. You the one that's causing this shit. These dudes been coming through here helping us build our shit every day, get our shit back together, helping repair and do all this other shit. But you the one coming with this bullshit ass news story trying to make us have this tension. And that's what it is. You keep people angry with one another. And I think this all leads back to the interracial shit. You have people who are fearful of other cultures. They're fearful of the things that they've heard, of the propaganda that they've been injected with. And they think, well, if my, it used to be the big black man. If my wife gets harassed by the big black man smoking the weed, and they're gonna go crazy, and they listen to that jazz music and all that other crazy shit. Every white person don't got a fucking KKK hood. Every motherfucking Mexican ain't selling drugs and coming from across the border. And I believe what Baker Man said about that colorism, because they have a thing with dark Mexicans and light Mexicans too. It's a real thing. But then again, everybody who's Latin is Mexican. Yeah, I said it. But like I say, it's just what it boils down to is ignorance all the way around, and I have no problem admitting that I participate in the ignorance, even though in first I engaged and I was just open to, whatever race that I got to getting under this particular kind of belief. And then I got to realize that, man, you know what? This is just me being stupid. And it really goes back to when I tell about, when I talk about, the front door food situation, it came up with the app and we were doing business. And the funny thing about it is you sit here and, you'll say, well, black people, white folks, they're all racist and all this. And it was people who had Confederate flags. It was people who were, white, nice neighborhoods. And they realized this was a black owned business and they used it like a motherfucker. They loved it. They tipped. It wasn't no tripping. We never had no issues. It was majority white people. The next biggest demographic were Hispanics. And literally one black person in the time that we were running that business used it, or at least in the first few months. And when we were putting in black owned business groups and, that were local to that area, it was sketchy. It was, I don't know, but then, after that died out and some similar businesses came to that area, man, you see them tweeting about it and posting it. There was no second guessing using that service, but because it was some people that looked like you, that you even knew personally, you wouldn't use the service, and so that's why I say, man, the shit that kind of experience right there, again, it fell under, but it makes me realize that, the race thing is just another divide. Yeah, I do believe that there are biological differences, not extreme ones, but there are biological differences within the races. And I think that comes from breeding and history. And I think that comes from just, originating from different locations on this planet. So, your body adapts and things like that. So I do believe that there are physical, biological differences between races. Like that's something I do believe. I mean, shit, you just look at the hair, the afro growing up, regular hair going, that's telling you something different is going on inside. But for the most part, we work the same. The parts, they connect, look, you hit it doggy style, don't matter if they black, white, purple, green, or gray, it works the same. You know what I mean? So, but I'm just saying that it's the ignorance that we let overwhelm us, and that is what puts us in the situation that we're in. Now, again, knowing of that ignorance and all that, now I still choose because I have a preference for black women. So that's why I stick with black women. That's what I'm physically attracted to. And everybody is entitled to have whatever they like. Everybody's entitled to have their own personal taste. That's just what turns me on. That's just what I like. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not going to sit here and say there aren't women of other races that don't have nice bodies, that don't look attractive or whatever it is. But personally, to me, in my mind, it's just, I don't know. That's just not quite my bag. Yeah, she's a nice looking woman, but not my thing, or this, that, and I think that's okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But to kind of flip that, and I want to get your opinion on that, because you talked about how, when it was vice versa, we talked about the black man, white woman, and, when it's vice versa, black women acting different in support of her. What about people who only date outside of their race, who don't even look at members of their own race? I've seen white girls do it. Oh, I don't date white men. There's hashtags on Twitter and all that type of shit related to that. You see black girls that I seen a woman, she's a feminist and all this stuff. I only date white men from Europe, and a black man can't talk about, you can't talk about black issues without talking to a black feminist first. Bitch, if you don't shut your busted up ass, like, you just, I talk about whatever the fuck I want to. But, they say all these crazy things, these stupid ass double standards. But what about those people? Like, how do you feel about those people who exclude their own kind? Now, is that a matter of dating? Is that a matter of just, some people call it self-hate? I mean, how do you feel about those kind of situations?
Well, I do think it's a little bit of self-hate, and I do think it's a little bit of brainwashing it too. And let me explain what I'm saying. Because I personally do not think that you cannot sit here and say that you do not. Okay, I'm gonna just use me for example. I can't sit here and say that I hate black people when I'm black.
Yeah.
To me, that just don't make no freaking sense at all. None. That don't make no sense at all. And I use the word freaking because my daughter's upstairs and I'm trying to watch my words. but but I just don't cannot understand how that is. And I've seen people do that too before too. I used to work with a guy that was like that. I mean, black is all I do. I mean, black as the midnight sky. I mean, he jet charcoal black. I'm not trying to make fun of the guy, but I'm just saying, just trying to give an example. Black as an Oreo cookie. Let's put it like that. And I swear for God, if you would not walk up to him and have a conversation with him, he wouldn't talk to black people. But he'll be quick to run over and talk to white people, white women, white men, whatever, smiling in their face, talking, chilling with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And there ain't nothing wrong with that. That's what you like. That's what you like. That's your thing. That's your thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking it. But I do think that is crazy. You cannot, how they say, navy blue black, okay? But I cannot sit here and say that I hate my own people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I might say I don't like some of the stuff that my own people do or say or act or whatever. Yeah. But to actually hate them and not want to be around them, that to me don't make no sense at all. And I've seen that. And it ain't just black people. I've seen some white people that do that. That act like they're black. And I've seen some Hispanics that act like they're white or whatever. I've seen that. And I can't speak on no races because I'm not those races. I don't know exactly how those, how they live and how they do things. But for my own self, it's like, I put it like this here. When, like, for example, a lot of people were talking about the Condoleezza Rice. There we go. I can't say her name. When Trump fired her out of White House, whatever. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, you forgot about the black people. Now you ain't working for Trump no more. Now you want to come back and be black." I don't know exactly how all that is, how that works. You know what I'm saying? How all that went down. But going by what I've read and heard, that's the kind of what I'm talking about right there. You can't sit here and act like you're not something. Then when you need Omarosa, there we go. I don't know where I get Condoleezza Rice from. Yeah, you're right. How did Omarosa? Sorry. I don't know where I got Condoleezza Rice from. Yeah. But you cannot sit here and say that when you need someone, let it go. They're gonna always be there, because that's not true. But you want to forget them when you up. You know what I'm saying? But then you want to go back and talk about you hood and street and all that stuff when you get kicked out the White House. Yeah. That don't make no sense to me. So you forgot who you are for the time being, but then when your time is up, now you want to remember who you are. That don't make no sense to me. And I'm not talking about black people, all black people, street and hood. I'm just using, a terminology there, if that makes sense. But I also think that when people want to sit here and only date other races, the first time I ever heard that, I questioned that. I asked why. I asked this one girl that, why? And I still don't understand it to this day, but you have your reasons. But the answer she told me was, the first time she ever had sex, she got raped by her own people. Mm-hmm. So she only want to get with a black guy. I was like, okay. That didn't make no sense to me, but I was like, whatever, to each his own. I didn't get it, and I still don't to this day, because if that happened to you by your own person, by your own people, you don't have to be with a black guy. You can get with a Hispanic, you can get with an Asian, whatever. But to each his own. And the second time I heard that before was a black woman said that she don't want to get with no black man. Oh, they all lazy, they don't work. All they do is, sit at home, play video games. I'm like, okay. It's like you got this idea in your head that this one race is like that. Everybody in this race, I put it like that, it's like that. And that's not true. Yeah. It might be true for this person or that person or a few people or here and there, but it's not true for everyone. So, I just don't understand it. And have a good one now. Good night, Paul. I gave you power. Have a good one. Good night to you. But it was like, I don't understand that. I don't get it. Because this can happen to anybody in any race, anywhere in the world. You know, it don't make no sense to me. Just like if you see someone walking down the street, like if you didn't know who Lil Wayne was and you see him walking down the street, you'd probably be ready to fight because that's what you're thinking. But then you could see a businessman walking down the street in a 3-piece suit, you know what I'm saying, like he just got off from work. He could be the one to kill you. And Lil Wayne be the one to save your life. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like you stereotyping someone based on what you've heard or seen or whatever happened to you. And it don't make no sense.
I mean, I agree. And again, it goes back to that ignorance, man. And that's something I always say, you know, like, that's why I say, man, I've always been fortunate. One second about that.
Bless you.
Hurricane Honcho coming through. But, you know, again, it comes back to that ignorance. And that's why I say, man, you know, I fuck with everybody, man. And again, because, you know, you can talk about street niggas, you can talk about people in, you know, like you say, 3-piece suits. Man, I've always said a suit is the most deceptive disguise because a suit covers up everything. I have a harder time trusting a motherfucker wearing a suit than I do about a motherfucker who got his tattoos exposed and showing. I don't care if it's, you know, got the double lightning bolts and some old racist shit or whatever. At least he real about whatever it is he believes in. And if you're going to speak real, I'd rather a motherfucker be real with me than try to be PC, than try to fit in and try to be on some bullshit. But at the same time, what you speak on, and, you know, people who have self-hate of their own race, ignorance, man. Ignorance. And again, limited exposure. Like I see Baker Man was talking about, these people with this limited exposure, a lot of it is TV experience. And a lot of people say, "This got raped, she was young and turned her gay." I don't get it. And I mean, I don't know. I've heard all kind of stories. Like, but here's the deal, honestly, and this is what I think people got. When it comes to stuff like that, you got to realize how powerful the mind is. And once you start nurturing a thought in your mind, and we're going to open up the deadline. I didn't realize we've been going for a minute. We've been having a good conversation. I'll open the deadline here in a second. But once you start nurturing a thought in your mind, especially when you get settled in on it, you start nurturing it, and that egg cracks and it becomes a belief. And, you know, when a thought forms into a belief and it becomes a way of life, or it becomes a standard for yourself, you know, it can be hard to go back to the origin of that, or some people use an occurrence and validate themselves with that. This is the reason why, you know, because you see, there's a lot of I don't want to get too far into it, but it's we'll call them therapies, I guess you would say, not necessarily Heidi therapies, but that when people get to the root, when they actually discover the root of a lot of their issues, and they can go back, revisit that problem, and either see it in a different way or believe it in a different manner. It's is it actually? I ain't got the proper ear gear. I see y'all calling, but I ain't got the proper ear gear in yet. So we'll open it up in a second. But you know,
you didn't put up on the screen yet.
yeah. So you got when you have. You go back to the root of those problems, and you can attack it from a different way, or you change the mental picture of that problem. Because I've seen people who've had phobias and who've had, you know, issues with flying, issues with spiders, and then, you know, because it was this particular practice that people were doing, and basically getting these people to revisit the origin of this problem, why they have this fear. And then in minutes, some of these people, sometimes it takes a couple of sessions for certain people, but they restructure that belief. They minimize that mental picture, because that's what you have a lot of times. And that's what I think happens with a lot of these social justice warriors and things like that. Because they visualize this incident and they blow it up, and so in their minds it's this huge problem, when to anybody else who has real problems and dealing with real situations, it's a small thing, you know, it's a minuscule thing, so it doesn't have that impact on them. But for people who don't really have a lot going on in their lives, who aren't dealing with real problems, they have to make some problems up for them so they can validate as to why they're not progressing in life, or why they're not successful in life, or why their life isn't validated. They formulate these big, huge things, or they blow these things out of proportion. And it's the mind's picture, it's the mental picture. Because if you think about any fear that you have, any irrational fear, when you see it in your mind, it's a big thing. It shuts out, it blocks out all other thoughts. It's hard to focus on anything else. It just makes you irrational. But when you have, you know, a small problem that you have to take care of, where is it? It's just kind of a small mental picture. It's just kind of in the side of your mind somewhere. You take care of it. It's no longer a thing. So it's about how you imagine these problems. And then that's how you end up dealing with them. So when these people go back and restructure their thoughts or approach that incident or whatever that turned them a certain way or made them react a certain way, a lot of the times you see instant changes in their behavior, their beliefs, the way they go on living a completely different life. So I find that to be very, very interesting. Now, so Lee said something, man, about start judging people by character, but off their look. But here's another thing that I said, you know, and this is my big reason, or one of my reasons as to why I say I'm not super interested in the interracial thing, because even though at this point I think I'm resigned to probably not going to have any little honchos out there, at least not that I know of. Motherfucker gonna come up to me one day, Dad, is that you? Fuck no, I don't know you, little nigga. Get the fuck out of my face. But, you know, but my thing is, you know, because I think there is an issue when you deal with interracial relationships. One, I don't, you know, like I say, because there's still a lot of ignorance and intolerance in this country. Even at this day and age, you see in Mississippi and in places like that, they still be bad at interracial couples from going to prom and you know, shit like that, which is crazy. But, you know, the problems, you know, of dealing with parents from different backgrounds, you know, getting to know particular sides of your family. I've known people who, you know, had black dads, white moms, the white side of their family will not embrace them, will not accept them, call them all kind of shit you could not even fucking imagine. And this is not just one incident. I mean, this is multiple incidents. I mean, like, you know, even like I say, back in the day when I did used to fuck around white girls or whatever it be, I know them. I know a white chick must around had a baby. She had, you know, her dad called it all kind of little nigger babies and, you know, mud babies and what they call butthole baby and all kind of just shit like that. You know, mom eventually softened up and embraced it, but I know other motherfuckers who I used to be even more so cool with, that I thought was cool was my people, was you know, we used to hang out. You know, I would consider a friend at that point in time. You know, his sister or something like that ended up having a black baby, and they found out, oh, she's having sex with black dudes. Now that's a whole different conversation. They, you know, the first kid she had was white, the second one was mixed, and you know, it's a different approach. And so my thing is, you know, the risk of running into that type of situation, because I'm gonna be honest with you, you know, if I'm gonna have a child in this earth, I'm gonna protect it at all costs, you know, and by any means necessary. So I don't give a fuck if it's your grandpa, your grandma, your uncle, or whatever it is, and you're approaching my child in a particular manner. Well, your mama gonna have to tell you the story why your daddy beat your uncle up, beat your grandpa up, or buried him, or whatever the fuck it may be. But your daddy's in jail because your grandpa or your uncle, he was saying some stupid shit. So you lost 2 in 1, 2 birds, 1 stone, baby. And again, you know, I think a lot of you know, mixed race people have issues dealing with culture, and I find it odd that the majority of them, you know, especially if it's black and white, like I said, I can't really speak for a lot of other races, but I mean, there's all kind. I know black and Hispanic. I know a chick who was black and Hispanic, and she tried to gravitate more to her Hispanic side, and that's kind of how she carried herself. But she looks black. But she would talk about how her grandmother and other members of her family, they treat her a particular way. They call her particular names, or you know, there's certain stigmas associated with her because of, you know, the way her family treated her. She had some issues because of that. And so my thing is, I wouldn't want to put my child through that. There's enough problems already to deal with in this world, aside from having to deal with that. And it's not to say that, oh, I don't like mixed people or nothing like that. I just know that for them it may be a tougher time because, again, finding your identity. You know, you're just as much white as you are black. You're just as much Mexican as you are black, or this and that, but you're automatically relegated to the black community. You know, well, this other community, well, we don't embrace you. You're black, because, you know, the stigma that comes along with being black and black behavior and all that other stuff that society continues to purport. But I just, and that's just the thing I wouldn't want to deal with, because again, you know, one, I can't tell you nothing about your white culture, you know, and depending on what kind of mama you got, you know, it's going to be a very interesting thing. And again, like the problems, like I say, you know, what if you're in an interracial relationship with your child, because I see them all the time, and I'm you know, a white woman and the child looks black, and you know, taking your child out in public, and maybe I'm not there, maybe I'm working, maybe I'm doing this or that, and the motherfucker threatens you and makes comments to you or whatever else it may be. It was just a thing actually that just happened like today or yesterday. Actually, I think I want to say yesterday. A guy randomly finds this woman on Facebook or one of these social medias, white chick, big white girl. Sometimes my niggas, they be going for the biggins. But you know, she had some black kids, and this motherfucker just randomly harassing her, telling all kind of shit, fuck you and your black mud babies, and you know, ain't no this, that, and the other, ain't no white privilege, and just all this like just random rant all on this motherfucker. So she ended up calling the laws, and so they went to go check out the scene. And they caught this motherfucker in his driveway, loaded down with all kind of ammunition. I think a vest, bullets, a bunch of guns, and they went and checked his house out, got a warrant, checked his house. He had some shit in there on how to fucking shoot up a school. I mean, just a bunch of crazy shit that was, I mean, so just that little incident, again, there's a lot of motherfuckers out there with mental problems. Y'all have no idea. But, you know, that anger and rage, there's people out there like that. And again, you know, I sure would have to catch a case behind some shit like that and be validated and justified. So that's another reason why I say I wouldn't want to deal with that kind of thing. So it's just, there's several smaller reasons. It's not just, you know, the attraction is one thing, but then there are other, you know, that's the main idea. You know, you have to write stories back in school. We got a main idea, and you got to give some details to support your main idea. You know, that's my main idea is one particularly because that's what I'm attracted to. But then there are details to support my main idea, and so that's the reason why I feel like that. You know, so it is what it is.
Let me say this here real quick, cause I kind of got the impression how I was saying it that people might take it the wrong way. So let me just say this here. Two things. One, I didn't just give her my heart just because she's black and I didn't want no problem. No, that's not true. I finally found me a woman that's down for me and there for me no matter what. Just she so happened to be black. And I love her. I love her to death. Been with her for so long. Been with her for over a decade now. So, and I wouldn't have it no other way. She loved my life. And then two, I saw Heidi say something about in her world it's not race, it's religion or something like that. She said, oh, here you go. In my world, it's definitely more religion than race. And when I saw that, I was kind of thinking it's kind of the same kind of thing when it comes to religion and race as well, too. Because you got some people that believe certain things in religion that other people don't. For example, you know, you got the nuns, you know, the Catholics, you know, they don't, not the Catholics, I can't think of that title right now, but they don't like to have sex, but they don't have sex with their wives. When you got the Baptists, they do have sex with their wives, things like that. So it's kind of the same thing as well, too, because people would take religion and say, no, this is how you're supposed to go. No, this is how you're supposed to go, things like that. Same thing with race. So, I just read that and I was like, you know, it's kind of the same thing, to be honest with you. But also, too, I kind of do agree with you, Huncho. You know, if I ever had some mixed, well, I'm not, but if I ever did have, I'll put it like that, have mixed kids, and I know people will have some crazy comments, you know, with my child and stuff like that. I agree with you. They might have to come, my child might have to come visit me through that thick glass wall there, see how I'm doing, talk to him on that phone and stuff, you know, because, yeah, daddy gonna have been do something crazy, because you're not gonna disrespect my child, you know what I'm saying, just because your ignorant beliefs, you know what I'm saying, and think that, you know, it's okay. No, because daddy gonna have something to say. Daddy gonna have something to say and something to do. And then daddy's not gonna be at home for a while. So it's just best not to put myself in that kind of predicament. So let's just put it like that. And also too, I saw another one. I forgot where it goes, so I'm not gonna find it. But anyway, also too, I want to say this here too as well too. It's not to say that, you know, being in an interracial relationship is a bad thing. It's not. Well, in my opinion, I can't speak for everybody else, but it's not. I think it's a beautiful thing. I think, you know, it shows how far we've come in this country. And I also think, oh, you going to open up the deadline?
Yeah, here, just a second. I'm going to let you speak your point.
Oh, okay then. All right. And I also think that, you know, when we do these things, it's just not interracial relationship. You ain't got to be in an interracial relationship. I've also seen people that don't want to befriend other races. And I think that's crazy as well, too. I think that we need to open up more as a people. You know what I'm saying? You know, stick together, have each other back, because you just never know what can occur on this earth to where you're going to need someone. You just never know. That's how this world is. For example, people might say, I don't need nobody. I could do this and do that. Well, when you went and got your job, you need that person to hire you, right? To give you that job. So no matter what their race is, I'm just throwing out an example out there. So, just a lot of things that you wear are made by other people of other races. So, just think about stuff like that. Just think about it. So we all do need somebody in some kind of way, shape, or form. And I bring that up just to say this here because I've had this conversation with people before. And this one guy told me, because I said, you got to watch what you say around people. He said, no, you don't. You just got to watch who you hang around with to say what you want to say. And when he said that, I'm like, that makes total sense. You got to watch who you hang around with instead of watching what you say. Yeah. And I was like, wow, he opened my eyes up when he said that. That opened my eyes up to something a little bit more than when he said that. So I just think that we as a people here on this earth needs to open up a little bit more to what's around you, because you just never know. You might sit there and enjoy it. You might have some fun. You might see something else that you might like. It's kind of like going to a new restaurant that you just heard a bunch of bad reviews about, and then you go and check it out yourself. You might love it. So the hell was I thinking?
Yeah. So, as long as it's an Aisha Curry restaurant.
Oh, it's open yet? It's already open?
Even if it is, fuck that goddamn restaurant. Ain't no love in the city, goddamn. But no, I definitely agree with you.
I heard that she was opening, and everybody in Houston gave us some bad reviews before it opened. But you made me lose my train of thought.
You were saying about who you say it around, who you hang around, not what you say, but who you hang around.
Yeah, and then when he told me that, I was like, wow, that he's telling the truth on that, because I could say what I want to say around my wife and she don't get offended, but I could say what I want, the same thing around someone else and they get pissed off. So he kind of telling the truth on that one. But then also too, like I said, that's what someone else said in the chat way earlier. If you're nice to me, I'm nice to you. That's basically how I am too. I don't give a damn who you are. Tall, short, fat, skinny, black, white, Hispanic, sexy, toe the fuck up, whatever. If you're cool with me, I'm cool with you. That's just how it is.
Yeah. And we got to address Balin talking about Kay Adams. He said he changed his mind. That should have never been on your mind in the first place. Kay Adams is the anti-thickness. I mean, there's what if you could just point out a feature on Kay Adams that represents an iota of thickness, and it's just it's impossible. It can't be done. Again,
I gotta ask you, who is Kay Adams? I don't know who that is.
I think it's Good Morning Football. The chick on Good Morning Football.
Oh, that's her. Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So
she's skinny with a big old head.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about now.
Got a thick head. Head thick, goddamn.
Yeah.
But again, some people like them slim. Some people like them chunky. Some people like them fab. Some like the BBW. But here's the deal, man. We'll open up the den line, and let me pull that up, and then actually, give me 1 second before we open up the den line. Let me double check and do some audio. Some people do like the flower pants, but I question their integrity. But 1 second, and we'll be right back with it. Hell no, y'all only get one intro. Y'all don't get two intros, damn it. Just one intro. All right, so the den line, let me put it aside behind man up there. So let me slide it out the way so y'all know what it is. Y'all can see what that says, den line. If y'all want to call into the den line, and then we will activate, man. We will get it. There we go, right there. And then, if y'all want to call in, y'all got some thoughts, we'll take a couple of calls. And I guess I got to give y'all some mixed reaction. Like, man, let me tell you, I've been telling y'all don't understand I've been fighting myself from buying that damn Red Dead like the last few days, from pre-ordering to now, because everybody on my social media talking about how live the game is. It's the dopest game I've been playing a couple of hours. This game of the year right here. And I'm just sitting there like, man, I've been waiting on this bitch for so long. I should just get it. I could just play a little bit. I'm just gonna fuck with it a little bit. But I know if I get that bitch, I'm gonna be. Everything is gonna be fucking. Cause I was about that. They bought it earlier before the stream. I was like, well, I fucking buy it for the stream, fuck it, and I could just play a little bit, just do a little mixer, just on the weekends. But I know if that bitch live, I'm gonna fuck around and be mixering all night and fucking. Well, we'll move the mixer back every night, and then I'll be in the middle of the night fucking playing the goddamn shit. So I can't do it, man. That's why I know I can't fucking fuck with it. Because if it's a good game, I'm gonna fuck with the shit, So I got to just keep myself away from it. Like I said, I've set myself some goals. I've been working hard on some things behind the scenes, trying to get, want to really start building up the den, like really taking it. Not saying that I don't take it serious, but as far as getting it in a better format and, really kind of working that up. And, it's the same with the sauce. Like I say, I got some goals and I want to achieve these things. And, like I say, eventually, somebody asked earlier about what the donations are for. Like I say, eventually I want to build this up to a platform where, not in the same exact sense of Arian Foster or Joe Rogan, but, get to a point where you can have people actually come in, have some cameras and some things to where it's similar to the style of which they operate their podcasts, where you just come in and you can actually have real live people in studio. Like I can't invite anybody in the in the garage. There ain't no central air. They gonna be like, damn, these lights bright, it's hot in this bitch, Or if it's cold outside, it's cold. This motherfucker gotta wear a jacket and shit. Can't even get comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? The mice might come seeking revenge. You know what I'm saying? They might want to come back and get, they crawl up on it. The mice, they usually stay chill till motherfuckers was gone. You just seen that they was there. So, but my thing, yeah, of course they have resources, but guess what? Those resources came from them starting young, working, becoming athletes, to them, being quality talent, making their money, and becoming that. And again, so I have to build my way up, and so for me to get that point, for it to be more valid, I got to be like I got to provide better content, and then the value will come, or things will come if you work harder, if you grind harder, the more opportunities will come. I've had some interesting opportunities be presented to me. Some of those I haven't wanted to take simply because of just certain situations where I kind of, weigh the pros and cons of those situations. I'm just like, this ain't the move. I'd rather do some of this more my way. Certain things I don't want to give up, certain things I don't want to approach it in that particular manner. And, I have a vision. And when you start letting too many people put their hands in the cookie jar, you're going to be like, damn, I wish I had one more cookie. Or you're going to be like, certain things will happen that, that just aren't the way you see it. So, like I said, it's got to do it the Hancho way for it to be right, ultimately for it to become what I see in my mind, the vision that I have for soft sports, for the den and things like that. And then, like I said, I want to do something like that, but then there's still another level too. That's just the next step. Like getting it to a platform or a podcast or a stream like that is the next step. But then there's an even bigger step after that as far as I want to do, because there's something that I don't see anybody doing. I'm surprised that I've yet to see this happen. And so that's why I say it's got to be done a certain way. It's got to be grinded out a certain way. And I think when it gets to where it's supposed to be, the den will be a different thing. It'll be a part of it, but I want to make soft sports the most unique sports program, period. Not just sports stream, not just live stream, not, I want it to be the most unique sports program ever. And so for me to obtain these things, it's just going to take some more grind. It's going to take more effort. Like these last few nights, trust me, I've been pulling some long nights, working on some things, obtaining some new skills, trying to figure out some things, just trying to try a bunch of different looks, and just a lot of stuff. You got to be independent, man. Got to be independent. And I want to be in control of my shit. I look at it like a lot of these weird ass rappers and shit, motherfuckers want a deal. Then they start crying once they get that deal because they realize they don't have no freedom. A deal don't mean you just getting a bunch of money just for rapping. It means you got to pay that shit back, and you got to make sure you make these folks their money and everything else. I have to be independent. I have to do things on my own accord. So that means my success is in my hands. It means my failure is in my hands. And You know, I'm not under the thumb of somebody else because, well, you know, Honcho, we like the Den or we like some, but you should really tone down this kind of conversation. I mean, fuck you. You know what I mean? I want to be able to say that. You know what I'm saying? I want to be in that position, and ultimately that's what it is. So, you know, that's just where I'm trying to get it, and I have no problem with that. You know what I mean? It's just, ever. And I mean, you got to set some high goals. You know what I mean? There's no point in half-assing it. You get one shot at this life. I'm not saying one shot at this thing, but you get one shot at this life, man. Why half-ass it? You know, I did some tomfoolery a lot early on, and I'm glad I learned a lot of those life lessons. Oh, did I miss a call? Hold on. I'm talking all this shit. I missed a call. I ain't hear the thing. Here's my fault. So if I missed a call, apologize and call back. And with the Den line now, you can call and or text the Den line. So the new Den line, you can text in also. You know what I'm saying? And so the old Den line, you know, we couldn't really do the text thing. So the new Den line, you can call in or text. So it ain't just call. But I mean, yeah, hey, Honcho, you know, I'm liking you. But sometimes when you're in cam, the skin's looking a little bit darker. Sometimes the light is low. Why don't you just go ahead and Sammy Sosa it up for us? You know, that way we can just, we'll all be right. So, you know, it ain't none of that shit, you know. But again, so if I want to come on this motherfucker, you know what I'm saying, fresh off a fucking nap and looking a little crazy and talking my shit, then hey, that just might be how it's going to be, you know. But again, there's goals. There is a vision. And right now it's about understanding how to provide a better program, provide, you know, better value. And then once you do those things, you know, it will come. It will always come. It will definitely come. You know, there's been times, like I say, as far as people supporting the channel and things like that, I just would never, when I first started, had no idea, did not imagine, I didn't think I'd be to this point where I'm at now. And so I know that there's certain things I got to work harder on, and I know that this thing can grow. I believe in it. You know, at first I didn't know if I had those beliefs necessarily, but I know that the thing can grow. I know that it can be, but it's just going to take work. It's going to take effort. You know, the Den is going to be a little bit harder because I think with the show like this, because the topics vary so much. You know, people like a channel or somewhere they can talk about the same shit every night. So like if you look at like the Tommy Sotomayor's or the Tariq Nasheed's or something like that, because that stuff I've only seen really, so I like watch those guys. As far as certain streams, like Tommy, his big thing is, you know, basically bashing on black women, bashing on a lot of shit black women do, and that's just his stick, and a lot of people love that, and so he brings that drama, and so people love drama. You know, his thing is just talking shit about black folks, and you know, that's just his whole spiel. That's cool if it works for him. I'm not knocking. I don't really fuck with it no more, because my reason why I stopped fucking with him was when he basically got in that accident with that chick, and basically he just started talking it all crazy, like. But then whenever Tariq Nasheed or whatever kind of with you, he was acting like a little kid, messed up with the wrestling belt and shit. Oh, come on, man, stop all that bullshit, man. Like you start acting like a hoe, you know. And so to me, I think that shit is weak, you know. And so I definitely lost a lot of respect for him. And then he had got a bunch of movies. He got like $60,000-$70,000 for like to do a movie. And then all of a sudden, the money just disappeared. Somebody stole it or something like that. Somebody used to work with him. She stole the money, and he just didn't want to press charges on her or whatever. Yeah, that sounds good, but I don't know about all that, man. You know what I'm saying? Says,
I stopped watching him because I used to watch him, and a lot of stuff he said I did agree with, you know, but I stopped watching him because, I don't know, just something in me just said, he feeds off this negativity.
Mm-hmm. He was a drama queen, like just some of the most off the wall bullshit. They doing this to me, man, and they doing this to me. It's like a act almost, you know. And
and that's what made me stop watching it, because I got to the point where I was like, you know what? A lot of stuff he's saying I do agree with, but at the end of the day, it's like he feeds off of that, and it's like, nah, I'm done watching him. Then there's another guy, if I'm not mistaken, he's in Houston too. I forgot his name.
You talking about the Advice show? What's the motherfucker deal, Taylor, man?
Yeah, him. I stopped watching him too, because he's not as bad as Tommy, but he's almost there.
Yeah.
And I got to the point where I was like, you know what, forget all that crap.
He used to be on some, I'm trying to help y'all out type shit, but I just knew he was a fraud. Because with him, he's been a fake for a long time, because what he did a long time ago was bought a bunch of fake subscribers. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I can't knock it. Like I say, when I had Sauce, like I had like a a little Google Ads credit thing, and so I used it just to test it out. So I paid for ad promotion, and so I do view that differently as buying fake subscribers, because you still have a choice to subscribe or not. And it's not like me inflating numbers with whatever. But so I mean, to be transparent about that. But he actually bought a bunch of fake ass subscribers to inflate his numbers to look like he was really doing some shit. And he just kind of he was emulating a lot of stuff that Tommy did, but then a lot of people recently just got on him because interracial relationship. You know, he talks all the stuff about black women, this, and this, and I think he's dating a light-skinned Mexican woman or something like that. And then it was funny because there's another YouTuber, some chick named Cynthia or something. She used to always talk that shit, but then she got this slick ass straight hair. She's the one that always talks shit about white people. Oh, and you know, this, and this. But bitch, you got a fucking whole weave in your head. You got a whole motherfucking look-alike thing going on. You got makeup that's too bright for your skin tone on right now. That's the shit. I hate that shit so much. Motherfuckers who put that is not your complexion, and you putting this extra bright ass makeup on. Then she got caught up because found out that she was in a interracial relationship a while back or some shit. Like, so that's why I say, man, it's cool. You know, you do what you do. Like I said, I was on again, off again. You know, don't care now. You know, said I've had interracial relationships in the past. That was at the point where I wouldn't fuck with none of that shit. I was like, man, fuck it, stick with your own race. And now I'm just kind of like, hey, whatever you do, whatever makes you happy, man. You do whatever floats your boat. And so they trying to censor me because I'm too dangerous. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and that's exactly what it is. Because this motherfucker get his shit flagged down all the time, but all he does is talk crazy. But you know, my thing is, because I almost went that way starting off, but I was like, you know what, I cannot do daily drama. Like, I don't feed off that shit. I can't stand that shit. That shit makes me feel a particular kind of way. That's some female shit. Like, I can't do the daily drama. Like, let's have interesting conversations. Let's look at both sides. Like we talking about interracial dating tonight. Some people hate it. Some people cool with it. Let's look at both sides of the coin. That's what I try to do with a lot of the topics. Let's look at both sides of the coin. Yep. Or let's talk about something positive, how we can do some self-improvement, you know, something like that. And, you know, that's the angle I like to take. Or let's have a serious discussion. But then, you know, it'll be the nice that we just talk about some stupid shit. Let's just have some fun, you know. I can't do drama, man. Like, it's not in me. I'm not with that bullshit, you know. And that's why I say I think the den is a more difficult thing to pin down, because people love drama, they love gossip, they want to hear that celebrity bullshit, you know. People don't really want self-improvement, or they don't want opinions on, you know, their life, or they don't want, you know, realist views. They want some emotional reactions to some dumb shit, you know. They just want some ignorance, because that's how a lot of people carry themselves. And so if they can't relate to the shit, they're not gonna fuck with it. So I think it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know, I agree with you on that too. Because if you notice, that's why all these reality shows are the way they are. Because people love to watch other people fighting, whether it's real or not, whether you think it's real or not, different story. But they love to see how people fighting, get to relationships, and they having a hard relationship and things like that. They love to see that. They don't want to see how you coming up in the world, how you being successful, how you growing your brand and stuff like that. They don't want to see stuff like that. Yeah. And it's weird that it's like that. So I see where you come from. And y'all go and call on in. Y'all come on, call on in. I know y'all got questions. But yeah, people don't want to see, you know, some real life stuff. You know what I'm saying? They want to see the fake drama stuff. Not everybody fights. Not everybody, you know what I'm saying, don't get along. People do like each other. You know what I'm saying? People do like to, you know, chill and be, you know, act fool with each other. And I do find that weird myself too. And going back to the makeup, and you talking about the skin complexion and stuff, I had this question too one day. I was like, people always talk bad about how black people act white. They call them coons and all this stuff, how everybody want to be black, stuff like that. I said this one day, I said, well, what about what the black women, they put on the makeup, they put on the rosy red cheeks, you know, what they make up. No, damn well black people don't have rosy red cheeks. So, you seen that before, haven't you?
No, all the motherfucking time. Too much.
It's like, black people don't have rosy red cheeks. Now, the light-skinned black people, yes. But the dark-skinned, like my complexion and darker, do not have rosy red cheeks. So when you're seeing that, it's like, and then you want to get like you said, get the wig with the long straight hair. Most black people don't have long straight hair like that.
Yeah, I
have a naturally curly. Mm-hmm. It's either naturally nappy or naturally curly. So it's like you talk bad about black people want to be white. I mean, yeah, but you don't talk about. I mean, you talk about, you know, but you don't see it on, like you said, you don't see it on both sides. They don't talk about it on both sides. You know what I'm saying? They say, oh, they always want to be like us. They, you know, they want, you can't be black, you know. But you don't talk about how a lot of black people act white. And when I gave that example, of course, I got
you're
negative.
gonna get played. Like when you hold a mirror up to somebody, oh, they get mad. They hate what they see, and they gonna start talking. When you start showing them some reality to them, they gonna hate that. I see Taylor May say, man, drama confrontation is what America's all about. It's our culture. Just I mean, like, it is. You know how you was talking about the reality shows? Think about what was the hottest daytime TV show? Jerry Springer. Why? Motherfucker was on there full of drama, fighting, fat people slapping each other with cake, KKK on the stage, and all this tomfoolery go down. And at the end of the day, Jerry trying to make some sense of it. Here's, Springer's phrase of the day, and we're going to talk about this. And I see DeMarcus, I think you text about. There was your text about Mahomes. I ain't talking about no sports, goddamn. Man, I keep missing the call. That's what I'm trying to say. I got to see if I got the settings on this off. So my phone, whoever keep calling, I keep missing your call. I apologize. I don't know why I'm not seeing. I guess when I actually start looking at the chat, I'm looking over here. They coming in. Then when I start looking at the chat, I miss it. My peripheral fucked up. You know what I'm saying? What kind of car is that? What's the peripheral? You drive a peripheral? Cat Williams shit. The final thought. That's what it was. Yeah, this is Jerry's final thought. And I had a bunch of fat people on the stage fighting each other with cake. I don't know where this show is going, but I'm making money, so fuck all of you guys and good night. But my thing is, damn it, it's not either. It's not showing up, or it's not because there's some way I don't see how I'm still missing this. It's not showing the thing. Maybe I got to take it back to the home screen for some reason. We only see it because of social media. Back in the day, it wasn't none of that. Nowadays, all you got to do. Yeah, it's just coming up like a missed call. It ain't even showing. That's why. Because I'm wondering, like, it ain't. Let me see something. All right, there we go. Hold on. All right, what's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling in to the den this evening? Who do we have calling in?
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, it's Edmund.
Edmund, what's the motherfucking deal? Edmund, what you want to drop in the den this evening, man?
So it's a question for Man Up. Speaking about interracial dating, it's more toward how would you deal with, let's say I have a friend that is dating a Muslim and he's a Christian. With that situation, with his parents being, you can say, religious extremists.
Okay, my fault. It kind of sketchy me. So you're saying if you have a friend who's a Christian and they're dating a Muslim, or a friend who's a Muslim and they're dating a Christian?
Yeah, because he kind of breaking up there. I couldn't understand what his whole entire question.
That was on me a little bit there.
Do apologize, Ed, man. I can't answer because I didn't really get the entire question. Can you ask that again?
I wonder if the audio tripping on me.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if it hung up. If you can't text that back in, Ed, man, my fault. Like I said, it caught part of it, but then, like I say, that's what the donation is for, so I can fix this goddamn dinner. I might either have to invest in a new mixer or something, and just because I don't know what it is, honestly, because I've tried 4 or 5 different auxiliary cords, and the thing about it is because what it is, it's a 1/4-inch plug, so I have to have a 1/4-inch to 3.5 millimeter adapter, and then I have the aux cord at 3.5, and like I say, I'm trying to they'll fit, and I can plug it all the way in, but if I do that, for some reason I get no sound. I have actually 2 or 3 different of the adapters, and again, it's continually tripping. I wonder.
DeMarcus Johnson, Huncho has a bunch of catchphrases. I like the tomfoolery.
Yeah, so I gotta figure out what's going on. I wonder if this is just a bad one, because now that I'm looking at it, I have this other plugged in and it works just fine. I'm gonna have to do some testing because I actually have 2 of these adapters, and I thought I bought a 3rd one, so I might have another one laying around here somewhere. I gotta look in my little accessories box, but no, you know what? I think I'll order 2. I might have to order another one to see if it's maybe. I wonder if the plug is bad. I wonder if that could be the case. I've tried all this other shit, But my thing is, then I don't want to order another. That bitch just don't work too, and it's just some old stupid shit going on. But because, like I say, the one I have the headphones plugged into works fine. I have no problem with that one. But it's the other one. Like I said, they try to plug the aux cord in. That seems to present an issue. So I mean, fuck it. It's only like $5 or $6, so I just have to order another one to see if that's the case. And hopefully we can fix these issues with the Dan and the sauce line, because it calls in and then it's it is what it is. So you love. I'm from Cali, where everybody fucking everybody. California love. What you talking about?
All right then. Yeah, I see they talking about you got a bunch of catchphrases there too, Hunter.
Oh yeah, man. No, yeah, man. I was saying if you could text your question in, I couldn't. I was having like I said, I caught it. There was about a Christian and a Muslim, but then it was kind of, like I said, kind of zonked out on me there. You say, do you think Muslims like Hitler for what he did to the Jews? You know, sometimes people say, you know, my enemy's enemy is my friend. So, I mean, I don't know. But look, I'm not a Muslim or a Jew. You know, I'm not a Nazi definitely either. So, I definitely can't tell you on that one, buddy. But that's a very
I was thinking that too. You know, I don't know.
Let's see.
You know.
You talk about the catchphrase, say tomfoolery, old buddy of mine, what's the motherfucking deal? Yeah, that's about right. So I'm gonna make a honcho soundboard. I'm gonna make an app. I'm gonna drop a app. It's gonna be buku ads on that bitch too. Every time you push the button, what's the motherfucking deal? Motherfucking deal is a new ad on that ass. No, I'm just fucking with you. Here's the deal. That's unfortunate. Y'all do be saying that shit a lot though. Players fuck up. Yeah, I say that one quite often too.
Oh man.
Yeah, so there's Muslims who believe in killing, and ones like Elijah who love people. Yeah, that's why I say, man, everything has extremes. That's why I say when I talk about races, like I say, you got black people, you got niggas, you got Mexicans, you got wetbacks or whatever you want to call them, you know, whatever stereotype you want to use. You got beaners or however you want to call them, identify them. But I think the wetbacks is more, I don't know if that's because that's more like the fresh off across the border who don't speak no English. That's what they tend to call them. But some of them motherfuckers be good people. A lot of them do cocaine. But we ain't talking about those days. Those days past. We ain't even gonna get into all that shit. But you got white people, you got crackers or whatever you want to call them, you know, white people on that bullshit. You got fucking I don't use redneck as bad, but I'm telling you, I done met some cool ass motherfucking rednecks, man. Like,
I have
cool.
I have too.
And it's just, the thing is that they just honest about the way they are and this is who they are. So they just speak their mind, you know what I'm saying? You know, they gonna talk. So they don't, a lot of motherfuckers ain't got no filter. And they just gonna speak their motherfucking mind. They just like white niggas, but you know, not in a derogatory sense, you know. But you know, niggas gonna say some crazy shit, and so they gonna just speak their motherfucking mind. They don't care, and then they like to have some motherfucking fun. They gonna get drunk, you know what I'm saying? They gonna have a good motherfucking time. They gonna show you a good time, man. Like shit, you'd be surprised. Some of them rednecks can throw down on a motherfucking barbecue too. You would be surprised. Muslims, of course, view Hitler as a liberator, not a conqueror. Okay. So you're saying that Muslims do like Hitler? No, interesting. How sweet it would be to get Casey in the playoffs and Watson wins. Oh, I would love that shit. I would love it. I'd love for them to be able to settle that debate head to head. And if Watson goes in there and dominates and wins, you got to shut all that Patrick Mahomes shit up, because again, he has just a better set of tools to work with, and that's what people don't realize. You got to sit behind a veteran quarterback. You weren't thrown into a fire. You got one of the all-time greats as far as a head coach. And I won't say all-time greats because, you know, you got to talk about Super Bowl and stuff, but he's a veteran coach who's been through multiple phases and changes in the NFL and has always been able to adapt and progress. So Andy Reid is a beast. He's had some of the best quarterbacks in the game and been able to coach them. And, you know, and again, you learn those skill sets and you see what you can work with some of these young guys. Again, you got Hill, Hunt, Kelsey. You got much better old line in the text. I don't want to talk sports with y'all. Goddamn, we save sports for the sauce. Y'all done baited me in the conversation. Damn it.
Yeah, they did get into that conversation.
Yeah, got me baited in. He says, so my question to Man Up was, a friend is dating a Muslim girl and he is a Christian. Last week he met her parents and they gave him a look like he was an outsider.
Yeah.
And he goes, let me see. He said he would deal with that. And does he confront the parents or does he break up with the girl? Okay, I think got a little hold on. Wait till man up get back with us. But okay.
I think it should. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Do your thing. Do your thing. That's a very interesting one. So we'll have a man address that when he gets back. But you get to change the subjects, with the segue. Heidi beefing. Who Heidi didn't start? Who's Heidi didn't start beefing with? Say interracial debate these on device because white folks know their genes are weaker than the rest. If we keep mixing, they'll be obsolete in 50 years. Google it if you don't believe. And that's what I was talking about earlier, that I do believe that there are biological differences, and I think that's where you run into some issues. And you talk about how, all about the babies always coming out looking black and things of that nature. But then we talked about the problems in dealing with that whole situation, and that's a whole other conversation. We might have to talk about mixed babies. Are they really black? Dun, dun, dun. But you know what I'm saying, so you have to explode their house and convert the girl to Christianity. God damn. Well, I mean, I'm just saying, you come around on what's the damn? It was just in my mind. What they celebrate? They don't celebrate Christmas. They celebrate Rosh Hashanah or some shit. What are the Muslims? No, that's the Jews with the 8 days of shit. Let me see. This got to be Dominic a fucking question because like I'm telling you, I'm concerned about Dom. I'm not even gonna read that shit. What you got? What you got on as far as the question? When you abuse yourself, do you think of black girls? Details. I need. What do you mean by when I abuse myself? When I talk about the things that I need to work on and my methods of self-improvement. I don't think about anybody but myself and the issues in which I need to improve on. Oh, you talking about when I'm in the spank bank? That's what you mean. Yeah. Because you got to be careful with the abuse, you know what I'm saying? Because we don't want to cross lines because we got an abuse kid that we need to be successful in Houston sports, so we don't want to confuse anybody. To abuse myself is to masturbate. Abuse is that's not the term for it. Most black girls, yeah. Every now and then I'll venture. If it's that kind of category, I'll venture into Brazil, but generally it's the darker Brazilian. But yeah, that's usually the take for me. Abuse cricket. So, you know what I mean. I mean that would probably be my lane. If I'm watching anything, it's gonna be some amateur shit because that fucking professional shit sucks because it's like bad acting and almost, I won't say fake fucking because they really fucked it, but that overemphasis on trying to make it sound and seem like something, that shit gets on my nerves. All that like you can tell real pleasurable moaning and then you can tell motherfuckers it's just acting. So like I prefer the amateur shit. It's more homemade looking ass shit, and yes, it's most likely gonna be black. So I'm gonna keep it's the DM, man. Gotta keep it 100, babe. So that's how we gonna go. We gonna go down that lane. That's as much detail as y'all gonna get, babe. You know what I mean? I live in a tall condo in Buenos Aires. So live amateurs every night. These 4 or 5. Oh shit, man! You should just record that shit, put that shit on Pornhub. You know what I'm saying? And fucking sell that shit. Start you a premium Snapchat. Yeah, that's what you got to do. Start your premium Snapchat. It ain't even got to be starred you. You just aim it at everybody else's window. Xfinity got me. Xfinity trying to take me out. I started talking about it. Look, it was funny that it happens at midnight. But so yeah, there's that. When Bang Bros first came out, when what was it, the Bang Bus? When the fucking Bang Bus first came out, that was original shit. That was some live ass shit. But then, you know, it was over after that. That shit, it got played out real quick, real fast. So you know, there's that. You know what I'm saying? That shit was live at first, but it's just like, I think they running out of hoes. You know, the facade, it wears off after a while. You know, it's like, oh, these niggas fucking these hoes, they kicking them out. Them niggas real. Them niggas smashing that bitch. They running off with the purse. They doing them hoes bad. And then, you know, then after so much of that, it got old. The Bang Bus got old kind of after a while. Man Up came back like, what the fuck they talking about? We was talking about the Muslim and the Christian when I left. Now we talking about the Bang Bus. But yeah, so he was basically saying about he has a friend who's a Christian. He has a girlfriend who's Muslim. He met the parents, and they kind of treated him a little funky. Should he stay with the girl, or should he, you know, leave her because of the situation with the parents? What is your thought on that, Mr. Man Up?
I ain't talking about my prep profile. Well, I think here it is. You got to live your life. You know what I'm saying? It's what you want to do in life. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying this on your people or your family or whatever like that. No. But at the end of the day, you got to do what you feel is best for you. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of a tough one for me. I would say, yeah, just be you. You know what I'm saying? Because it's kind of like this thing with this interracial thing. You know what I'm saying? One race with another race, one religion with another religion. You know, if they get along and they're okay with their situation, do that. You know what I'm saying? Be you. You like Hunter said, you get one shot at this life. Be happy. Be who you are. You know what I'm saying? So that's just what I think. You know, what you think?
But I agree. I mean, look, if he's happy with the girl, she happy with him, you know, make it shake. But you got to be careful because, again, depending on how strict they are, you know, they may influence her. They may be putting a bug in her ear. Now she's going to give you a Christmas present. You open that bitch up and boom, relationship over with. But,
yeah.
But man, I feel you, H-Train. Like I tell you, and I told you, I talk about my relationship prior to this and that situation. But her mom did not like me either. But fuck that bitch. Fuck her mom. I hope that bitch trip over a speed bump and break all this shit like fucking John McCain did. And I hope that bitch end up in a wheelchair and roll off a fucking hill. So, you know, there's that. But you know, it is what it is. It says, man up, have you ever been in that situation before? So you ever been in a situation where your significant other's parents didn't care for you too much?
Yeah, I have. It is what it is. You know, it's my life. I got to live it. They could be right. You know, they could be wrong, but I got to live my life. You know, same thing with my mom. You know, she's a few girlfriends I've had that she didn't like. You know, I got to live it. You know what I'm saying? So, and I love my mom to death, my family, you know, whatever, but I got to do me. You know what I'm saying? It's just like she was with some people, you know, that, you know, well, she was with my dad and they, you know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. You know, it sucks, but you got to live your life. You got to be you. You know what I'm saying? So, and you can't live for no one else. That's basically what that is. They want you to live for them, live through them, or want to live through you or whatever, but you can't do that. So that's just how I see it.
Okay, and I agree, man. And again, and that's not just with relationships. That's with everything, man. You know, you get one shot, man. I tell y'all, you know, because I went on a little rant the other evening, the last day, towards the end, we were just talking about life, and I was kind of suggesting some books for some of the youngins to read and some things like that, and just, you know, talking about some of my experiences and things that, you know, I wish I would have been introduced at a younger age. You know, certain information that I know now that if had I known back then, you know, I'd be in a completely different place right now. And again, you know, not tripping on that. You know, your journey is your journey. But about just going all in, about just diving in, man. And I saw another interesting video from Will Smith. He posted on Instagram, and it was a bunch of people kind of stepping to the edge of a diving board. And all these people, they were kind of scared at first. They looked over, they saw how far it was. It was, I guess, that like the Olympic, you know, side, like the diving board, you know, the way where you do all the fucking flips and shit. I don't know exactly what you call it, but the not the fucking high horse, the high dive, I guess is what you would call it. And, you know, they were hesitating, they were nervous, and then eventually they all jumped in. You got to be cautious of this. I see these motherfuckers books their ass. They did some flips all right, not the way they intended, but you know, they were just showing motherfuckers, you know, fearful of jumping out of a plane, and they was just kind of hesitating and falling back. But he was just saying, man, you just got to dive in. And then I give it to, you know, a lot of people don't look at Will Smith like this, but again, and it sounds crazy, but Will Smith changed my perspective on life as a whole. You know, Mr. Miami, you know, Mr. Men in Black, all that other weird shit. But his outlook on life, and a lot of people say he's strange and, you know, this, that, or whatever. Will Smith is living a better life, and I don't think just because of the money. I think, you know, his mentality had got him there, but he's living a better life than most of us, because there's a lot of celebrities with a lot of money that are miserable, you know, worried about a bunch of bullshit. And excuse me. So I think you got to just go all in. And so if you ever hesitant, you ever afraid of some shit, or you worried about what anybody else thinks about you, man, fuck it, tell them kiss your ass and keep pushing, because another motherfucker's opinion on you don't mean shit, don't mean jack shit, you know. And and that's why I talk about, you know, the growth has to be organic and independent, because then you allow people, if you get in another situation, you allow people's opinions to get to sway and affect what you do. And that's why I say, to me, that's what's the most important thing is, even with some of the opportunities I've been presented to do some different things with these channels, I'm like, I'm cool, you know, I'll get there on my own. I'll get there, you know, eventually. It may take a little while longer. It may be, you know, whatever it is. But again, I'll learn more along the journey, and I'll be better suited for those opportunities. But I say the same thing to y'all, man. Read books. You know, don't have to force yourself to go through certain experiences, because there's a lot of people who've been through a lot of the shit in life that you're going to encounter. And all you got to do is read about it, stack that knowledge up. So if you do have that situation, you can get over it so much more quickly, because you understand, okay, well, this person did this and this is how they got around it. And again, everybody's shit is not going to be a perfect fit, but it can give you an idea. It can help you spark those thoughts that you need to, you know, get ahead, to get out of certain situations, to just motivate you to keep pushing or whatever it may be. And so I think that ultimately the two things that are very important is reading, and the second is not giving a fuck. I mean, it sounds like not giving a fuck is not in the sense of, oh, I don't care, I just ain't gonna do it, or fuck that, but doing what it is that you want to do and get out of life and go in the direction you want out of life, but not letting the details hinder you. So if you trying to figure something out, man, I don't know how I'm gonna do it, I ain't got enough money to do this, just start walking in that direction. You know, start moving in the direction of whatever it is to you. Or, you know, such and such gonna think this about me if I do this. Guess what? Fuck them. Because if you letting somebody else put their hands on your remote control of your life, then you're not living your life. It's you giving them your power. You giving you this, like it's their life or whatever. You know, like you the one that has to go through these experiences. You know what I'm saying? Make your decisions and execute, and then live with the consequences or live with the successes. And, you know, don't think twice about that shit, man. You know? Yeah,
that's exactly what I'm saying. People living, they want to live through you. They want you to do certain things because they couldn't do it, or they feel like, you know, if they did it, you know, this is what happened to them or whatever, you know, whatever the case is. But at the same time, though, you got to do you. You can't let someone, just because other people going to have opinions and stuff like that, you can't let that hinder what you're trying to do in this world. And I got to say this real quick here, because of why in the world is Heidi talking about my BBC? What is going on?
Heidi been on she been on Pornhub watching the amateur black videos. After I started talking about it, she started, oh, what the amateur black? Let me go see what's going on. Make sure it ain't just the porn actors. Let me see what's really real.
I saw that. I was like, what the? I was looking like, what the hell? But yeah, you can't sit here and let someone dictate, you know, what you do. You got to live your life. It is what it is. It sucks, and it sounds messed up, but you're the one that's got to be happy in what you're doing. You know, you can't sit here and say, well, I'm not going to do this because my parents is not going to approve, or my family's gonna look at me this kind of way, whatever, you know what I'm saying? No, you got to be happy. And me and Hunter talked about this before. Hunter said, how do you say no? Read the whole thing. Oh, okay. Well, I saw you say it's a stereotype. That's why I was asking what you was talking about. But anyway, you gotta live your life, because at the end of the day you got to be happy. You know what I'm saying? So, and you can't worry about what they're doing or what they're what someone else might say, because they're gonna do what they want to do. So why can't you? You know what I'm saying? As long as you're doing things the right way, who cares? You know what I'm saying? If you're happy, let it be. So just saying.
Okay. I agree. You got to, because again, you'll never know. Don't live vicarious through other people. Don't let other people, don't let other people dictate your experience. And I agree with Taylor Made, man. Basically, it's right. In this age of information, this is the age of information. That's what people got to realize. It's the age of information. If you want to be ignorant, you want to be foolish, you choose to do so. That's why when people sit and say, oh, I don't know and I can't. And, man, Google that shit. Like, you'll be surprised how many people have problems and will Google what a celebrity doing. They'll Google the latest gossip. They'll Google this other shit. So have you ever Googled your problem? Have you ever Googled the issue you struggling with? No, I ain't never think about that. Why don't you try doing that fucking shit, you dumbass? Like, I mean, you'll Google everything else. Why not say, hey man, I'm struggling with this issue here or whatever it is. Google that shit and see what comes back. How it can't hurt you. I mean, shit, you may get some good suggestions. You may get some stupid shit, but it's crazy the action that people take with certain, activities. And so it's crazy stuff, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But here's the deal, man. Like I say, we went hard for y'all. We've been about 2 hours and some change, so we're gonna get ready to wind it down here. I guess I'll give y'all a little bit of mixer action tonight. I gotta get on the Xbox and convince myself not to buy Red Dead. Like I'm telling y'all don't understand. I'm like I get like this close. Just like, let me step back. Let me end up getting back this close. Let me just not do it. But it is what it is. Get an F like Sipper can. But here's the deal, man. I just want to say I appreciate all of y'all. I want to say shout out to Man Up. Man Up, you got anything you want to say before we get out of here first, before I end my spiel?
I do want to say this here, man. Me and Huncho had talked about it before. I forgot last time, but I'm trying to remember this. We want to always end then on a good positive note. And my positive thing I want to end this on is this. If Huncho don't mind, I just want to give a congratulations and shout out to my little girl, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, man, do your thing.
Okay. Had a parent teacher conference meeting with my daughter's teacher today, and found out my daughter's well over exceeding every category in school. She's in the 3rd grade, but her test scores and everything, she'll put her in the 7th grade.
Okay. So
I am so proud of my baby. I just had to put that out there. My baby, she's only 8 in the 3rd grade, but I'm so proud of her. Her test scores revealed that she's supposed to be in the 7th grade. That's how good she's doing right now. Just want to say, just had to throw that out there. Give my daughter a shout out.
Man, that's what's up. That's what's up. That's good shit to hear, man. That's the kind of shit you want to hear. That's what you want to hear. That good news that makes you feel good. It makes you, just validates, lets you know that the work that you've been putting in, the things that you have been doing are the right things, and that you.
Bailey and Brock want to know what numbers on my jersey, so I'm just letting them know.
Yeah. two nines. You know what I'm saying? Two like you gonna got 2 straps. You already know. And Bailey say fuck the mixer to take away from the DN's future. I have debated on that. I have really debated on the mixer action, but the mixer just be a little bit of a different conversation. But I have been thinking about that lately too. As far as I've been telling you, I've been just doing a lot of thinking, a lot of late night working, and just trying to put some extra thought into how I operate some of these other things and for growth and progress. So that's kind of a point that I've been thinking about now, as far as if I'm gonna keep the mixer going, because I relegated only to the weekends, but it like, I'm not trying to be a fucking video game streamer. I'm not trying to be ninja or nothing like that. I ain't no fucking gamer. I ain't good anyway. It's just fun to just talk some shit while I, fuck off on the game, and that's cool. But I've been debating on that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if how much longer I might keep it going. Might push it to the end of the month. Might fucking we'll see. We'll see, because there's gonna be some changes coming up in November. I'm gonna start doing some shit differently, but I'm still debating it. So we'll see what happens with the mixer. But for now, we'll talk some shit tonight. We'll make it shake. But man, that's good news, though. That is very good to hear, and I'm glad to hear that. So definitely want to end that on a positive. I think that's a good note to end it on. Some good news from Mr. Man Up. Kylie said girls taking over academics. Yeah, all of them except for those Argentinian ones. I don't know about those. But with that being said, I just want to say thank y'all, man. I appreciate y'all coming through, chopping it up with your boy, chopping it up with Mr. Man Up. I appreciate you coming through, having another great conversation. Again, if y'all on Facebook, make sure you join the Den group. I try to get the conversations going in there a little bit more. I'm gonna get a little bit more active on that too, but I usually tend to post the topic of the day in there early, so we can kind of get that stimulated. Like I say, and just man, I appreciate it. Again, like I say, the fact that y'all take the time to fuck with it, and take the time to just engage in the conversation, even though sometimes you be talking about some crazy shit. The other night, I don't know how the cereal conversation got started, but it is what it is. We're talking about all kind of cereals, but shit like that, it's just kind of how the Den is, man. But I just want to say thank y'all, from the soft sports to the Den action to whatever it may be. Just the fact that y'all, just supporting what I do, and I appreciate those things. So with that being said, I appreciate y'all. Man Up, I appreciate you coming through another good evening. We're going to chunk up a deuce now. I'm inviting y'all to the mixer. Make sure y'all catch it, because again, it might be one of the last ones. I'm not sure yet. Still vacillating. That's what I'm talking about. Hold on. Let me get the. It's a very exclusive club. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A very exclusive club. Y'all might not know nothing about that, but I appreciate y'all, man. So again, we gonna get up out of here. I'm inviting y'all to the mixer. Y'all, what let me start. This is another one of those catchphrases. I had to take that one from Martin. Y'all ain't got to go home. I'm inviting y'all politely to go to the mixer, but y'all got to get the fuck up out of here. And with that being said, we out.